Bum 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 bum. Da da do 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 do. Do, 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 do. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, where it is day 1199 and another amazing day for learning. And I also want to say, too, to all of our veterans who have served and are serving, thank you for your service. In other parts of the world, this is known as Armistice Day or Remembrance Day, depending on what country you live in. And you're probably going to go, why? So we're going to have a little history lesson tonight. I figured, why not? So on the 11th of November, so the 11th of the 11th, 1918, out in a train carriage at 5 a.m. It was 5 a.m. in the morning when Germany signed an armistice agreement with the Allies in a railroad car outside of Compiègne, France. It's like champagne, but spelled a little differently. And then 6 hours later, the ceasefire took place. And that was at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. Although, when it doesn't say it on any of the history pages I can find, all that I know is that as I was growing up, we took a moment of silence at 11 minutes past 11. So the 11th minute, 11 minutes past 11 on the 11th day of the 11th month, we took a moment of silence to remember all of those that had gone before us, those from World War I, those from World War II, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if officially it was 11/11 or if that's just something somebody came up with number-wise. But definitely the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 is when the Great War, known as World War I, came to a ceasefire. So that's where that. Now, people are going to go, but why? How did Armistice, and it was known as Armistice Day after that. And people are going to ask why, well, then how did it become Veterans Day? I'm so glad you asked that. I'm just going back to my notes here. I'm so glad you asked that because what happened was that on June the 1st, 1954, Public Law number 380 was ratified. And it states, Public Law 380 is Chapter 250, and it's dated June 1st, 1954, an act to honor veterans on the 11th day of November of each year, a day dedicated to world peace. And then it turns around and it says, Veterans Day, be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that the act entitled an act making the 11th day of November in each year a legal holiday, approved May 13th, 1938, 52 Stat 351, 5 U.S.C. Section 87A, is hereby amended to strike out the word armistice and inserting in lieu thereof the word veterans, approved June 1st, 1954. So that's how Armistice Day here in the States became Veterans Day. Just a little world history for you. So again, to all the veterans, thank you for your service. Veterans, past, present, thank you. So what else have I been? So besides giving history lessons today, we had actually I need my notebook. We had day 2 of the Leverage Conference. Again, we had some great speakers. Oh my gosh, it was each day has built on the previous day, and it was just an incredible day. We started off with a round table where Deborah had a very dear friend of hers who's actually in England, and the two of them had this conversation going backwards and forwards, like what's going on in your country, what's going on in your country, and they just had this conversation, and it was no holds bar. It didn't matter if it was about politics, religion, it did not matter. No topic was off the table. It was completely open. Then they opened, and so the two of them were going backwards and forwards with their conversation, and then it got opened up for the next hour. And it was really interesting to hear how they viewed different things from each other's country, and then learning what was actually happening as well. So it was very interesting to hear those differences and what was happening. Then for the next hour after that, we actually had open mic. So everybody got a turn to say what their thoughts were about different things. No topic was off the table, and it was done with respect. Everybody respected everybody else's opinion. We had no outbreaks of fighting, arguing, anything like that. It was like somebody was speaking, everybody listened, everybody has an opinion, and it had to be either, you had to start with, it was your opinion or in your experience. So it was a very interesting conversation going on around that. And like I said, any topic was on the table. So that was really, really cool to listen to and to get different different points of view on different things, how people view things very differently. And that's why there was a lot of respect, because each person has a different way of how they experience something. That's, two people could experience the same situation, but they have different views and ideas on that. Somebody wants to play. Hi, you want to play? There you go. Keep her quiet for like 2 seconds. So it was great to see the respect that everybody had for each other and the respect everybody had for everybody's opinion or experiences that they had had. I loved it. It was awesome. Then we heard about leadership in business and different ways that you lead. And I love this, that you lead by, I wrote it down here. Where did I write it? You lead by integrity, compassion, and courage. And I thought that was so cool. Courage for the truth. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. But we also talked about the mindset. Zeffie, please. We also, good girl. She's upset with me right now. Because, well, she actually took us for 2 walks around the thing tonight. Zeffie, bring it here. Thank you. Release. No, she wants to play tug of war. She actually got to play tug of war with one of her friends tonight. Okay, this is going to sit up here for a bit. This is her toy. She's actually not doing too bad. It's just got a little tattered on one side. But she's going to try and destroy the squeaker on that one. All right, you'll get it back. So yes, so it was very interesting to different types of leadership skills, including things like self-care, taking care of yourself. If you're going to be a leader, you have to lead by example. And taking care of yourself is one of those things. Be somebody who walks the walk and talks the talk, not somebody who says, do what I say, not what I do. And that was really, really cool to hear. We also had somebody who talked about publicity, which was, I don't think I've been to a conference where I've had somebody who is a publicity specialist talk on the importance of publicity, what it can do for your business and things like that. So I was trying to think if I ever heard anything about that. So we got to hear about publicity, where it can magnetize, multiply, and monetize your business. And that was really cool. Then I got to do my presentation on why genealogy is important. I thought it went really well. The people who I spoke to afterwards said that they really enjoyed the presentation. So, I felt it went well, and that's all, and if people received it, and we had, so what they would do is I'd have 2 speakers, then those 2 speakers would go have their 30 minutes each. Then you get, it was either 20 or 30 minutes in a breakout room, and people could come and go between the 2 breakout rooms and ask speakers questions. You were not allowed to sell from the stage, but once you were in the breakout room, you had the opportunity, if it came up, to do some selling. And so after I spoke, we then had somebody talking about her digital technology and talking about digital marketing and things. So that was very interesting to hear. And some of it I knew, and some of it I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So yes, I did learn some things. And then we had the breakout rooms, and that went really well. I had some people in there that were asking really good questions. And I had fun answering those questions and giving them some more hints and tips and things like that. So I enjoyed that. Then we had somebody talking, and I'm trying to think, have I ever heard this actually done in a conversation, where they say that the things that irritate you the most are the things that you don't like about yourself. They're things that you do yourself that annoy you, and yet when somebody else does it to you, it's like a mirror. But she talked a lot about giving and giving unconditionally, which I am in total agreement with, and just giving unconditionally because you can. without any expectation of return or anything else. And she says, you'll get taken care of. She says, don't worry about it, just give unconditionally. And I really enjoyed that that talk on that. And then we had somebody talking about one of the CRM systems and that she is an expert in. And that was a really good information as well. But I already have a CRM system that I use and like. So I was paying attention to what she was saying about email marketing and how CRM systems can be used with landing pages and sales funnels and all of that. And a lot of what she was saying was clicking into place for me with the CRM that I use that could do all of that as well. So it was a really, really good day of learning. But I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, because tomorrow they're bringing the masters in. And we've been learning slowly through the last 2 days, and tomorrow she's bringing the master speakers in to close us out for the conference. And these are people who are trying to think of the right words. I want to say they're like magicians in the business that they're in. These are like super experts that know their stuff, high quality speakers. We've had great quality, don't get me wrong, we've had some really good speakers the last 2 days, great quality of speakers, great quality presentations. These ones take it an extra level. These masters are a level above. So it's where a speaker would go. These are, they're just, I'm trying to think how to best to describe. They're sort of like a level up from what we've already heard. But these are the masters, and they're coming in to close us out. And we got a couple of friends coming in that are going to be speaking, so I am super excited about that. And so it's been a fantastic conference, and knowing what's coming tomorrow and who some of the speakers are, I am like beyond excited. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so good. And because I'm the MC, between every speaker, I get them to like shake their hands out, do the little wristy dance thing, do some stretches, just loosen up the fingers and the wrists, keep them nice and warm and limber so they're not getting writer's cramp, because there is so much information. I have pages in my notebook, and I'm kind of worried about the fact that my notebook might run out before the last master speaker comes out tomorrow. Because I'm just taking pages and pages and pages of notes. But yeah, I have to say, Deborah really pulled out all the stops for this one. And I don't know about the first two, but last year's one was an epic adventure, and she's already superseded last year's one with the speakers that she's had in this year. So it's really, really cool to see all of that. And then last night, after I got off the live, I was going to go and watch The Spy Who Loved Me, but I decided to give James Bond a break. It was a tough decision to make, simply because I have a lot of classwork to do this week, a lot of coursework. And I was looking, even though I got an hour of study in that day, last night after I got off, I was looking at my thing going, if I don't do extra study time, I'm going to get way behind. And I can't afford to do that, because we've got assessments that are due on Monday, and there's other mini assignments done throughout the week as well, and I've got to get those in. So it's sort of like I have to get moving with this thing. So I thought, okay, I'm making the tough decision. I'm going to put James Bond on hold till Sunday night. Sunday is definitely going to be a lot of study done that day. I'm going to do some study now. It probably won't be a lot because I'm exhausted. When Zeffie went out for her walk tonight, we met up with another dog owner, and Zeffie and her dog are around the same size and have gotten to know each other. And so we ended up walking, because we'd already done a little bit of a walk at that point. We ended up meeting up with them, and they were just literally kind of starting out on their walk. And we walked the whole perimeter of the pet area of the resort and dropped them off at their place. I said, okay, Zeffie, time to go home. And so we ended up doing a whole nother complete loop. And because we'd already gone past enough to do that, we had done one loop. And she says, oh, whereabouts do you live? And I told her where I lived. And she says, but we've walked past that. And I said, can you see where my dog is? Because we're walking past the top end of the main street. And I said, if she doesn't want to go down the street, she gets as far away from that intersection as she possibly can. So I cannot walk down the street without dragging her. And I said, we're just going to walk past you guys, and, we'll drop you off and we'll keep on walking. And it turned out we ended up doing 2 complete loops of the pet area tonight. And not the whole pet area, because when Zeffie gets back to the main road after we've walked from the top road down to the bottom road and we get back to that main road, instead of going across, since we saw that little yellow house on sale, she now takes a left turn and then takes a right turn and then a left turn. So it puts us on that street and we walk past. And I says, just watch her. I says, watch what happens when we get to the end of the street. This is on our first round. We get to the stop sign of the main road of the resort, not the main road of outside road. And Zeffie does a right turn and then crosses over the street and does her thing. And I'm keeping the leash very loose. So I'm not pulling on the leash or giving her any signals or which way to go or anything like that. And she keeps walking up the grass and takes a left onto the street. And my friend looks at me and she goes, really? I says, oh, we're not done yet. I said, just keep watching her. And so Zeffie's actually walking on my right side, which is the same side the house happens to be on. So Zeffie walks up to the house, like she makes a beeline for it. She doesn't even just walk down and then suddenly turn. She makes a beeline for it, walks past the house, stops at the bottom of the steps, sniffing at the plant containers that they have at the bottom of the steps, sniffs at those, walks around the corner and tries to walk up the driveway. I'm like, yeah, no. And she's like, really? I says, yeah. I said, when I first saw it was for sale, I says, every time we've gone out for a walk now, she brings me past here and she usually tries to climb the stairs on the porch. But tonight's the first time I've seen her trying to go up the driveway. And when we walked around when we came around the second time, she does this. But we had to stop and play with her other friend that she found that is back at the resort again. And so we stopped and let them play. And then I said to Zeffie, come on, time to go home. And so she walks up the street, takes that left turn down past the little yellow house. But this time she stays on the left side of me and like glances at it as we walk past and then turns her head and carries on walking. So she didn't try to get into the house this time, probably because she'd already been told no the last time. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. So it's kind of interesting how she keeps wanting to go to this house. And but we will see. If it's a sign from above we're supposed to have that house, then everything will work out. And we will get that place if it's supposed to happen. I'm not holding my breath. I would like more space. I want a separate office because sitting at my dining table every day to work and then to eat and to study and everything else, I need a separate office space. I am missing having a printer. I do have a printer, but I have nowhere to put it. I have nowhere to put it with the power unless I pull out an extension cord. And that's just like, that's too much work because I've got nowhere for it to sit because it has to sit close to the computer so it can be plugged in. And I actually have to plug it into the laptop because I don't have the right converter plug to plug it directly into this computer. So, all these little logistic things, but it would be nice to have a full office setup where there's a printer setup that runs off the Wi-Fi. This little one's supposed to, but the Wi-Fi on it's never worked. But I do have in storage my bigger printer, and it's a printer scanner thing, which is really cool. And so I'd like to have a place to put that because I know in that little space, it doesn't need any further space. It's all contained in one little cube or one cube, whereas this other one requires about this much space because you've got to put the paper in this side. Paper goes through the printer, which is this wide, and then, of course, it's got to lay out the other side. So the cube printer actually takes up less space than the travel printer does, the portable printer. Go figure, especially when you've got it ready to print. Yes, it's nice to be able to put it away, but to get it out and to get it to print, that's a pain. So, so this one actually has a separate office area, which would be nice. And it has a window that looks directly down the driveway, and and it's a bay window, so you could put like a little seat there for Zeffie, and she'd be happy to sit up there. And then there's also a way that I can create an area for her to look out the front windows as well. But I'm going to probably end up calling the guy in charge of it and asking to have a walk through it. But I have learned from my friend that we walked around tonight that she's busy looking for somewhere to buy it. She's actively looking for somewhere to buy, but she said that she's found out that people don't want appraisals done, don't want inspections done. They want a cash deal. And I'm like, even if I do it as a cash deal, I said, I am insisting on an inspection and insisting on an appraisal. And I will not buy a place without both of those things. And even if it is a cash deal and they still refuse, bye-bye. Not mine. Don't want it. Move on to the next. But like I said, I'm not really actively looking, but it's a cute little place. Who knows? But anyway, we've got day 3, the final day of the Leverage Conference tomorrow. we get to finish a little earlier. So I'll get extra study time tomorrow. And then Sunday, it is going to be all hands on deck, getting the study done. I actually have a grocery order that's in the middle of, I was supposed to like hit the order button like 30 minutes before we finished tonight, and I totally forgot to do it. And I got a little email saying, have you forgotten anything? Do you realize that you have stuff in your shopping cart? I'm like, yes, I do. So we'll get that done tomorrow and see if we can time it to come in during the lunch break for tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Or maybe I'll put myself a big note here that says order groceries at, and put the time there so that I know that when we finish, the groceries will then arrive. So I may even do it that way. But anyway, that's it from us for today. Go have a super fantastic sparkling evening. I'm going to go do at least an hour of study and then kick back and relax. Oh, sorry. First of all, I have to give the DOG her TREATs, and I have to mix her food up because she emptied her food bowl and there wasn't a lot left in there. So I got to go feed her, give her her treats, and then get some study done. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.